So why would you consider pre-construction? You're buying a property that doesn't exist yet, and there are some risks involved in it. But at the same time, there are benefits. And as people say, those who don't risk don't drink champagne. So you have to look at pros and cons of pre-construction and go from there. All right. So what's the benefit for the buyer? Deferred deposit structure, and also gets them into a property with a 20, from 20 to 25% down. There's appreciation of the property over a period of time. By the time it's built, hopefully it's gone up in price, and that may generate some positive cash flow. As far as the agent, well, you get typically 4% commission. I've seen as much as 6, but typically it's 4. And there's a lot less paperwork when you have to do a pre-construction deal. Now, to make it worthwhile for yourself and your clients, so you don't waste time, just do some research and with your clients and regarding projects before you proceed. Save yourself some time and heartache for this, and for yourself and for your clients. So educating your clients, find out from them why they're looking for pre-construction. Are they buying it as an investment? Are they going to be living in it themselves, or are their kids going to live in it in the future? Because then you're looking at different types of properties, different locations, and that will determine the investment and the type of property you're going to buy, size of the property. Budget is a big determining factor. And keep in mind there may be financing issues, there are tax implications if you're talking about renting out the property after closing or trying to sell as an assignment. And we'll cover these topics as we go along. And there's obviously issues with assignments as well. Now, future value. One of the things you want to do is, why do people buy pre-construction? A lot of times it's for future values, and if we look at real estate values in Toronto over a long period of time, it continuously goes up. There are blips when it goes down, but overall it's up and up and up. And but when you look at what has driven the price, it's not just demand. People say, it's immigration, it's speculation, and other forces, and that's true in part. Foreign buyers and so on, but a lot of it is actually driven by our governments. For example, I'd say 20 years ago, there are no development charges. Nowadays, you're looking at probably $250,000 of the purchase price of a pre-construction condo is actually municipal fees that are buried in the purchase price. And as an article in Toronto Star tried to point out last week, is that, the builders are gouging people. This is why the prices are so high. Well, I don't know if that's the builders who are gouging. It looks like it's more like Mayor Tory and the municipal structure that's milking investors. Will these prices keep going up over a long period of time? Yes. Over a short period of time, anybody's guess. It will be determined by interest rates, what are the taxes, government controls, future pandemics, who knows? Do all projects have the same appreciation value? No. And they can vary from building to building. They can be side by side, and you'll have different appreciation because it will be determined possibly by amenities, by the builder, just the finishes. It can be any number of things. And sometimes one building will have some issues in the beginning, and that will create a reputation. And then that lingers even after things have been corrected. That reputation still lingers on and affects future value of the units. And then talking with your clients, you need to determine what is it they're looking for. Studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedroom units. When I used to work with investors and sold a lot of pre-construction, all my clients were investors. I always suggested 1+1s, particularly 1+1s. These days, it seems like the better value is a 2 bedroom or a 3 bedroom unit, simply because per square foot, it works out cheaper. And also, as far as a rental value, in the future, you'll have better return, because who rents, especially downtown Toronto, who rents 2 and 3 or unit condos? Usually it will be like 3 students, or I have a 3 bedrooms rented out downtown to 3 nurses. Before that, it was 3 guys who worked downtown in the financial district. It's cheaper for people to rent these days a 2 or 3 bedroom and put their money together into this type of a setup than renting a 1 bedroom on their own. It works out a lot cheaper, and people, this is the route young people are going these days. So whereas it used to be 1+1 was the best investment, maybe these days it could be a 2 or 3 bedroom. Keep in mind, these units, these condos have gotten very small these days. When is it a good investment? Here's this I took from CMHC. Typical purchase with 25, not a typical, this is actually old numbers, but if you look at it, a sale price of 644,000, 25% with 20% down, there's your monthly rent. Monthly expenses are probably close to $1,000. Then you have, which are your mortgage payment, maintenance fees, property taxes. This doesn't even account for insurance. So you may have to be subsidizing these your purchase. Now, is that a problem? It potentially could be, because it depends what it is. What's the subsidy? What's the rent going to be? You may enjoy the appreciation regardless and still make money on it, but you have to be able to carry it. So if you're subsidizing an investment on a monthly basis, you better have the income to support that. This is another one also for CMHC, and you can see what the with a 20% down, what your carrying costs are, what your average rent is, and the difference here. This is the gap. This is money out of your pocket each and every month. So be careful and do the math for yourself or for your clients to make sure you approach it correctly. I just saw actually a couple of units got sold pre-construction. One was in Mississauga, one was downtown. I'm not going to name projects, but I don't know the size of the unit downtown, but it was a 1 bedroom and it sold for, I would guess it was probably around 500 square feet, maybe a little bit more. It sold for 19,900, no locker, no parking. Similar sized unit in Mississauga was purchased for $568,000. So you have to take that into consideration, because the rent's actually not going to be that much different, but the carrying costs are going to be tremendously different. It will affect your investment. So the process of buying for construction, select the location. Like I said, you want downtown, do you want Richmond Hill, do you want Mississauga or Hamilton, elsewhere? Select the developer. Reputation of the developer is critical. These days, I see a lot of new developers, and I don't know who they are, where they're coming from, and what their experience is. And it's good to know who they are, because that will determine if actually the project is going to happen or not. Because you might be locking up money there for 5 years and then nothing happens, and you just get your deposit back. That's it, if you're lucky. You're gonna have to select the unit type, like I said, 1 or 2 bedroom or studio, whatever works. Worksheet, instead of doing agreement purchase and sale with pre-construction, you do you fill out a builder's worksheet, and I'll show you an example of it. There is a 10-day cooling off period for buyers, but interestingly, developers also put in their contracts a cooling off period for themselves as well. We'll discuss the deposit structure. Selecting lawyer is very, very important. Talk about that. Capping the closing costs. That's something will determine how much additional money you're going to have to lay out on closing, because you're going to spend. It's not going to be just your land transfer taxes. There are additional fees. We'll talk about assignments and complications in that area. Choosing upgrades, interim closing versus final closing, and assignments. So worksheet, this is a typical example of a worksheet. This is what the builder is going to expect from you. You've got to fill this out for your client. So you put in your own name and when this is being done. On pre-construction, you choose 3 options because you're competing with other agents for the same project for same units. So if one floor layout gets sold out, you want to have a backup. Number 2 and number 3. You're not obligated to. If you only want one type of unit, if you don't get it, then you don't get it and you move on to another project. But this at least gives you the option to switch to another layout if your favorite is sold out, so you put your second favorite. You'll need to provide your buyer's IDs. You need to indicate if you want parking or not. And when it comes to parking, locker you can buy pretty much with any unit. Parking, these days, builders are not building large parking lots under the buildings, and parking is only available for 2 and 3 bedroom units. And there are actually buildings that have no parking at all, especially downtown. And don't forget your name, because otherwise you won't get paid. Now, after the worksheet is done, if you've received a unit has been allocated to your client, you'll have by law, the builder is required to provide the buyer with 10 days to think about and decide if they want to proceed with this purchase. Use the time wisely. Take the agreement to purchase and sale to a developer, to a lawyer, buyer's lawyer, and have it reviewed. They need to see, the rules around it, what the extra fees are going to be in addition to closing costs. What the closing costs are going to consist of, okay? And that's what the builder is going to review, okay? You also want to make sure, what I've done is for my clients, I went to where the building is going to go and looked at the floor plate, where the layout is going to be, which way it's going to face. And I stood on the street trying to imagine which way they're going to look at, and if there are going to be other buildings blocking views. If the view is important, this is something you want to see. So use the time wisely, and do additional research. Also, the buyer needs to obtain mortgage pre-approval from a financial institution. The builder will require this for the deal to go through, or they'll just give you your deposit back. So you need to get the pre-approval from a banking institution. Most builders will not accept pre-approval letter from a mortgage broker. It will have to be from a financial institution. I know we work with RBC, and they will provide you with pre-approval and also hold the rate. So if you have clients who need assistance in this, we as a brokerage provide that. And so review the floor plans. Practice reading floor plans if you're not familiar with it. This is actually one of the ones I sold because there was nothing else available. And my client was actually looking for a 1-bedroom, but ended up buying this 2-bedroom. And this is a bit of an odd unit. And if I had a choice, I probably would have never sold this unit, but it was the right price, the right location. And my client went ahead with it. But if you look at this, it's a 2-bedroom. This is what they're referring to as a den, which is basically nothing, just space for a desk and a shelf. You have windows here, then you have open space here with a kitchen. So setting up furniture is not easy. You got windows everywhere, and then with access to a balcony on this side. And then you look at the bathroom, and you have bathroom from the master, bathroom from the hallway, and there's a shower in the middle with two glass sliding doors on each side. Great privacy, especially if you're sharing with somebody else. So look at these things. This is where you got to pay attention for minor details, because at the end of the day, you as agents, you're not just selling these units. You might want to, in the future, be renting this out. And how easy is it going to be as a rental unit? How easy is it going to be rented out? And if you need to resell this in the future, how easy is it going to resell? So it has to be a long-term plan as well for you as an agent, not just for the buyer. Mortgage pre-approval, as I've mentioned, you got to get pre-approved. You use that 10 days to get it, and rates may not be held. We deal with RBC, and RBC for our agents and their clients will hold the rate. But there may be conditions, again, in the pre-approval and in holding the rate. And by the way, builder, the bank will also look at who the builder is. They don't approve just anybody. Okay, and that's one of the reasons also to consider who is the builder. The deposit structure, I've seen different variations, and here's a typical one where you have to put down altogether 20%, and it can be spread over maybe a year or 2 years, with final 5% of closing. So here's a perfect example: 5% on 5,000 on signing, 5% minus the 5,000 30 days. Then you have another 5% 90 days, 5% 270 days. And I've seen some of the deals now because of the pricing, especially with units downtown. They're going down on signing, it's 10,000, not 5,000. Lawyer, get a lawyer who knows what he's doing when it comes to pre-construction, because there's so many builder packs into their agreement to purchase sale. So many little fees, you'd be surprised. It's going to be $100 here, $500 there, meter hookups, education levies, development charges, on and on and on and on. And a smart lawyer who knows what he's doing, experienced, will actually read through it, find all these little dollar signs, and make a list of what should be requested of the builder to be removed from the agreement of purchase and sale. And when you come with a request for this amendment, a lot of times builders will go along with it. Okay, they don't necessarily refuse, but it will vary from builder to builder. And at that point, if they refuse, it's up to you to proceed or not. But I do recommend getting a good lawyer. So one of the things the lawyer is going to look at is saving you money on closing, and that involves capping development charges and levies. So what do these consist of? There's development charges, education levies, parkland contributions, public art levies, green standard levies, all kinds of stuff. So these are going to end up on the statement of adjustment. They may have, even in these, like you have development charges. The builder can then have a clause in the agreement purchase and sale. If the city increases the development charges over this period of time, the buyer is going to be responsible for the difference. So this is why capping is very important. I've seen people who did not have their development charges capped, and they had an additional $35,000 surprise on closing, which they had not planned for. So please be aware of these and make sure that development charges are capped. I've seen some builders who refuse to do that. Here's some sample levies and charges. As you'll see, you have check recovery fee. I don't know what that means. You have development charges, increase in development charges, education charges, water and hydro hookup, Therion fees, pre-delivery inspection consultation fees, internet delivery, and so on. It could be lawyer fees in this as well, all kinds of things. And in this particular case, we had a cap. There was also cashback from the builder on closing, so on. So we were able to reduce from 33 to 21. That's a saving. Yeah, a huge saving for the buyer. This was actually from one of my own deals, and the buyer saved the buyer $12,000 because the solicitor reviewed the purchase and sale carefully. I typically work with my clients even after closing, and I help them choose upgrades. Not all of them call me for this, but I have done this, and I like to go these and make sure that they're not spending money for unnecessary things. Upgraded flooring or upgraded tiles. Who cares? If you're buying for investment, you're going to rent it out. It doesn't matter. Okay, and your tenants can destroy anything, and probably will. And with time, it's going to happen. You might want even they offer even shades, roller shades for the windows. If you get your own, it might cost you $4,000. If you go through a builder, it'll probably cost you 10. What's better? That's up to you. It's up to your client. But at least you get it right on day one, versus waiting for a week to get roller shades from a reseller. And by the way, you do not get upgrades. Do not affect your commission. But it's my way of staying in touch with clients so that when the deal does close, I'm there to rent out the property, stay in touch with clients, and then sell the property when the time comes. It's always a return business that keeps you going. This is Terran warranty. It's critical. Every unit comes with Terran warranty. You pay for it. Builder charges it on, passes on to you. And here's a little video from Terran.
You just got the keys to your recently completed house or condominium unit, and you're on your way into your first year as a new homeowner. And don't forget, that new home comes with a warranty. Knowing what's covered and how to make a claim will help you be a happy homeowner. In the first year, your warranty covers defects in work and material throughout your home. It also protects against violations of the Ontario Building Code and unauthorized substitutions. An unauthorized substitution is where your builder substitutes a selection you made for something else without your approval, or your builder substitutes an item referred to in your purchase agreement for something of lesser quality. The warranty begins on the date of possession and lasts a year from that date. So for example, if you moved into your new home in January, there are 2 time periods during which you can make a claim to Terrion. And it's so easy with the My Home app, Terrion's online service for homeowners. Within the first 30 days, you can submit a 30-day form. Is there something your builder didn't repair from your pre-delivery inspection? Or have you noticed some other issues since you moved in? In the last 30 days of your first year, you can submit a year-end form. Since some things might not be covered beyond the first year, be sure to submit all of your remaining warranty items at this time. If you have any questions, contact us. We're here to help.
One of the things regarding Terran warranty, they also do provide protection for delayed closings. And it's a process. You have to fill out an application, submit it to the builder. Not to the builder, but Terran, and they review the application. You can get up to $7,500 back. So that's another thing to stay on. And Terran, and with Terran, the forms they mentioned in this video, you have to make sure you get them in on time, because even if you're a day late, trust me, they're going to refuse to do anything about it. I mean, the builder. Okay. Oh, okay. Assignments. So most builders will allow an assignment. There's a caveat. There will be a fee for the assignment. You cannot. They will not let you assign until the project is largely completed. Could be 80%, could be 90, 95% sold out, or the construction is above ground, or they're at the top floor. Every builder has their own criteria. but they'll try not to let you assign until they have sold out most of their units, and because they don't want you competing with them. Okay. There's also taxes involved, and their own financing is subject to a lot of things as well. That's why they don't want you interfering with their business. Even though the builders may allow you to assign, they will not allow you to advertise it. So that means you can't put it on MLS, and you're going to have a challenge getting it out to a lot of people to see if they want to buy the assignment from you. And then it becomes a problem. And if the person can't, if your client cannot close, they may have a problem. Okay. And also with assignments, sometimes the closing gets pushed and pushed and pushed. I've never advised my clients to buy with an expectation they're going to be able to assign. It's just too risky. So keep in mind, you cannot advertise it, and assignments cannot be advertised. Assignments also have tax implications, and there are two types of tax implications. First of all, a lot of builders will demand that you pay that the assignee pays HST on closing. That's number one. Number two, assignor will probably have to pay income tax, not capital gains tax, income tax. So it's whatever the person bought themselves, and they bought the assignor has assigned, and so it will be added on. The profit they made on the assignment is added on to their income, and then the taxes are calculated. So it's a big hit in taxes. So be very, very careful. It's not capital gains. And you have to also be aware to how to put assignment agreement in place. It's challenging even for the lawyers, because the math is a bit complex. Okay. We have a question in chat. I see some assignments advertised in MLS. How are those ones done? Two options. Sometimes agents who are not aware that they're not allowed to advertise put it in the MLS and take their chances. That might fly, but keep in mind, that's a breach of contract, and that allows the builder actually take the contract back, take the unit back, and not give you the deposit, and not return the deposit. Okay, you're in breach. So that's taking chances. The other option is some builders have their own brokerages, and they will sell those assignments through their brokerage. I was selling, had a client with a unit in UCondo that's it's on Bay, south of Bloor. It was 2 towers, and the builder was doing them under the same condo corp. And one tower was done, the other one was just under construction, and they already released the units in the first tower to purchasers. And my client was living in the unit, but she wanted to sell it. She had another unit coming up in another project, and she asked me to sell it. And I looked at it, I said, I can't do it because, first of all, not allowed, and I don't want you to get into trouble with the builder. So fine. So, and I saw that they were advertised online, and all the units that were for sale on MLS were the same brokerage. I called them up. They said, yeah, we're the only ones who are doing this. I said, okay, will you pay me a referral fee if I send you a client? I said, yes. I sent them, I basically handled all the paperwork for them, and the brokerage listed it and sold it. And I got a referral fee for it. So that's one. Okay. Now, HST implications. Right now, I got to tell you, when it comes to income tax, HST, capital gains, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not giving you advice. Do the research. I suggest your clients go seek accounting advice from the professionals, the licensed professionals. I'm providing here a link to Canada, to CRA, and you can do your research, but in basic terms, HST is payable. The property is not occupied by the buyer, by the original buyer or buyer's immediate family on closing. And if it's not, then the government will want their taxes. You may be able to get a portion up to $24,000 refund. It's under a separate program where you pay the HST and then you get the GST portion back up to 24 grand if the unit is used as a residential rental unit. There may be other exemptions, but typically this is what I see on an everyday basis. Interim occupancy. In most cases, builders will provide you with interim occupancy where the purchaser is expected to occupy the unit. Again, you might not be allowed to advertise because you still don't own it. Interim occupancy means you have the keys to the unit and now you're renting it from the builder. And you're paying builders for property tax, maintenance fees, mortgage, insurance, and so on. The balcony might not be accessible. There might still be no carpets in the hallways. The elevator might be all boarded up, but they're already releasing the unit to you. You might not be able to advertise it for rent. So either it's empty or you're renting it through builders brokerage or services, or you're living in it yourself, basically in the construction zone. And so there are costs involved. Now, how long is this interim occupancy going to last? That all depends on the builder. Like I just mentioned to you on new condos, they had 2 towers. So my client had to wait almost a year. Actually, we sold before that, but it took over a year for the condo corp to be registered. And it was interim occupancy during that whole period. Most of the time these days, it takes about 3 months. It also depends on where your unit is. If you're on the bottom of the building, that's where occupancy starts from and goes up as the building is being occupied and finishes are, kitchens are being put in and places being painted. So you get, if your unit is on the bottom, you're going to get occupancy first. If you're at the top, you're going to get it last. And then you might wait 3 months, you might be right away. I had 2 years ago, a client of mine, a year and a half ago, my client actually got his unit 3 months after registration. So he never had interim occupancy, but that's rare. Usually you'll be paying fees to the builder during interim occupancy. Closing costs and statement of adjustments. So builder will send when it's time to actually close, the final closing. Here's on the left-hand side is a typical statement of adjustment. That's actually a shortened version. But that's all kinds of fees and adjustments that the builder sends to your solicitor. And then everything's calculated and you're told how much you have to pay. Now, HST and property and closing costs, like land transfer taxes, will be determined on closing, depending on the purchase price. And HST will be determined if you're occupying it or not. Some people lie and say, yeah, I will occupy it, but then they put it on MLS for rent. You haven't paid HST, but guess what? Guess who's watching the MLS besides other real estate agents? CRA, okay? So you can be sure pretty much 100% they're going to be calling you. Might not be right away, might be a year later, but they will come knocking on your door and they'll want their taxes. And then don't forget, you only have 2 years after closing to apply for the rebate, but they can come back for HST anytime after closing. So it's the HST concerns. You have tax assessment. You have builder repairs, carry-on. You might not have access to facilities for a long time, even after the building is registered, and you might not have access to balcony and common areas, and the elevator might be all boarded up, even after closing, interim closing or final closing. It takes time for the builder to finish, put on final touches. Now, I spoke to a builder one time. I said, at what point in time do you register a building? Because we can register a building at any time. But the problem is, if we register right away, we're paying maintenance fees, and they would rather not. So they start off interim occupancy, put it off onto the buyers. How to find projects? Well, Remarketer is Century 21 Heritage tool that you should all have access to. And under brokerage hub, we have pre-construction. It's basically a link to the Google Drive, where we have a folder called projects, and where we upload projects that we're promoting and supporting. We try to do as many as possible, but we don't know all builders and we don't know all projects. If you hear of a project that you're familiar with and you're interested in, please let me know, and we'll do our best to get that to you. So I think I just answered the question in the chat. There's so many projects launching, we don't have access to them. Like I said, we can't know all possible projects. We do our best. If there's a project that's of interest to you, just let me know and I'll get it for you, okay? One of the other sources besides Remarketer is the Condo Mall. It's a website that's owned by Century 21 Heritage, and the projects are uploaded to this website by a third-party provider and by us as well. Let me just check another question. Next, there's RealNet. RealNet used to be really great, and this is accessed through Treb. RealNet used to be really great in providing information on upcoming projects. I've been disappointed lately. They haven't been providing, I don't think it's up to date, and not every project is there. Either they can't keep up with it themselves or just not putting the effort into it. I don't know. Other sources, there's builder sites. So if you hear of a project, you know who the builder is, look for the builder. Don't Google the actual project, because you're going to have a lot of fake websites and you're going to end up registering with another real estate agent. Look for builder sites, and you can find out who the builder is by possibly going to Buzz Home and seeing who the builder is, and then you can follow from there. There's other companies that do promote projects. Like builders will promote their own, like Tridel will do their own thing, Lifetime, and others, but you have marketing companies such as Baker, Rare, Market Vision, PSR, International Marketing, International Home Marketing. Sorry, they are. This is all they do. They're brokerages, but they specialize in selling pre-construction projects. Even Buzz Home, they have their own agents, and some of them you'll see a window that says, fill in for more information. But you have to say if it says Buzz agent or actually the builder's site. So use Buzz Home with some caution. But it will give you basic information, and the links on their site to the builder site are actually not to the builder. So look up the name and then Google the builder name himself, and then on the builder's website you can register for their specific project or for all of their projects, and then you will receive constant email advertising what they have. Okay, and this is the way to stay abreast of what projects are coming up. And also, if you go to these sales centers are now being open, and you can go and take your clients there. If you start moving product, builders will be sending you more and more, and they'll want to work with you, and they'll give you allocation. Now, let me take a look at what questions we have. How up to date is the pre-construction site? It's pretty up to date. As projects come across my desk, I put them up right away. So there's Pam, the owner of our brokerage, Pam Prescott. Okay, we're both working on this, and we're working with to bring in a couple of experts, specialists in this, to bring in more projects to our brokerage.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like our video, please hit the like button, the subscribe, and even the little bell to get notifications, just so you can stay in touch and watch more of these great videos.